Welcome, beloveds. Welcome to book review session with Nikita. So, I'm going to walk you through some interesting books one by one, of course, one at a time. And what I'm gonna share is my own personal key learnings from the book, chapter wise, and I will read it out and discuss it with you, new topics or lessons that are discussed in that book. It's that simple. Two things we are gonna do. So keep your book and pen ready to note down the important points because, of course, we are going to learn something really good, new, and important. So the first one which I have selected is this because feelings are very important. So the name of the book is Big Feelings, How to Be Okay When Things Are Not Okay. Authors are Liz Fosslin and Molly West Duffy. Big Feelings. There is a reason to choose this book because feelings are very complicated thing, and human makes it more complicated because everyone has their own strategies to deal with it or to run away from it. But there is a very thin line of difference to understand that whether we are actually dealing with it accurately enough or not, like really objectively in a way that serves us as well as others. Okay, so Big Feelings is the book where the author has chosen important feelings, everyday common experiences. I say it common and everyday because these are the same feelings, these are the same experiences that each one of us go through almost every day, and these are the same big feelings that drive us crazy, that needs our attention, that are very complicated, as in it's very overwhelming to experience at certain point of time, and it takes life, it sucks life out of it if we are not paying attention to it. Therefore they are big feelings. Okay, so the first chapter which I have selected is something on the experiences of I will never be good enough. Can you guess the name of the chapter? I will never be good enough. It's like we are measuring ourselves with other measurements, with some other standard of evaluations, and there is no ending to it. Like one thing you measure yourself up against others, it's done, then it's the next one, the next one, and the next one. And it's a never ending cycle of defeat because at every trial and error and even at every success, you are just contributing into your own feelings of I'm not good enough. The chapter is on comparison. Listen, beloveds, comparison is inevitable. It's going to be there. Like, how do you know that you have learned enough? How do you know that you are good at the skill or at your work or in the performance? Until and unless your performance or your skill, your learnings are evaluated by some standards of evaluation or measurements or judgments. And that's how even our educational system is like how do we assess your learning, theoretically or practically? It is based on some standards of, there are some parameters, there are some standards of evaluation and judgments. But my key learnings from this chapter, which was interesting for me personally as well. Okay, so comparison, first thing you have to understand that comparison is going to be inevitable, like it is there because that's how we understand where we are, who we are, and how we are going to measure up, like as in against what standards. But note my words, it is not in the sense of disrespecting yourself, devaluing yourself, and not at all falling into the cycle of I will never be good enough. Okay, so those beliefs, those models, you have to completely eliminate from your system after this video. And yeah, you can have your own copy of the book as well. Okay, so first I will share my 3 key learnings from this chapter. So the first one is where we are going wrong when we are comparing ourselves with others. Second key learning, how comparison can bring us in touch with our own purpose. by digging really deeply into our own values. So, focusing on your talents, abilities, skills, by looking at other people's success, how can you come in alignment with your own purpose? And third point is, in reality, what we should actually compare with. So these are my 3 key learnings from this chapter. Let me first just walk you through 2 theoretical parts. She says comparison is central to figuring out who we are. Our accomplishments, expectations, and mood are all affected by how we stack up against others. And here's where we are going wrong. Like, if you are comparing your not enoughness to someone's enoughness, then we are doing wrong. And that's where comparison becomes a problem. That's where we can go in the downward spiral of depression or anxiety, and in that maze where we are just locked and there is no way out of it. When we are comparing our not enoughness, by not enoughness I mean something I don't have and something other person is having, and I'm comparing that thing. Firstly, it is just out of balance, there is lot of discrepancy, so it is not even a right standard of measurement, right? But this is what we do. So by comparing my not enoughness with someone's enoughness, then we are together going wrong, and that's where comparison is the problem. Psychologist Charles Coolidge, in his work Human Nature and the Social Order, found that our self-worth stems in part from the looking glass self. Looking glass self is how we think we appear to others. You see, your thoughts are coming here. So use the psychologist principles. How we think we appear to others. People see if they are good at something and then feel good about their abilities by checking whether they are better at it than others, that's number 1, or by receiving praise for their talents, number 2. So how do you know that you are good at something? Of course you give your performance, but then here is the 2 measurements of how you see it. You see it by measuring how you are better at it than others. Okay, so you feel good if you are actually better than it at others. But then there will always be someone out there who could be way better than you, and then suppose A is better than B on some standard of evaluation, A feels good, okay, then B. So A has passed the B, let's say, and now the A compares with C and D, better than C and D, okay, but then there is E who is better than A, B, C and D, so now A is feeling bad. So it doesn't work that way. And second, when we receive praise for our talents, we feel good. But how can you be sure that it's always going to work up like that? Okay. And the second theory is this: I will be happy when. Again, this is a never-ending cycle of me not feeling good enough. The nature of comparison is continually reassess where we stand. This is the second theory. Something called comparison targets. Now the nature of comparison in itself is such that it keeps on reassessing itself as we move ahead. So suppose one part of your professional journey you have successfully completed and achieved, then there is something else to deal with, like another challenge or something else to deal with. So the point is that this is called comparison targets. So researchers call the people against whom we measure ourselves are comparison targets. The people who we are measuring ourselves against are what? Comparison targets. And this shift over time and as our circumstance change. So today you are measuring yourself up with someone, and that will shift as you move ahead in your professional life and as your circumstance change. So there is this term used which is good: new level, new devil phenomenon. Every time you level up, you will be surrounded by a new, more accomplished group of people and you will start to compare yourself with them again. So this is how we are in the wrong cycle. This is how we have learned to compare ourselves wrongly. So where we are going wrong when we are comparing ourselves with others? Here is the mistake. We are comparing our weakness with someone's strength. We are comparing our not enoughness with someone's enoughness. We are comparing ourselves with what we don't have with someone who has. But we are not even checking up that whether we want that or not. We are not checking up with how my life journey has been like than others. We are not checking up that my weakness is not someone's strength, but when I'm doing wrong, when I'm comparing my weakness with someone's strength, but maybe someone's strength could not be my strength, because I am different, my values are different, my purpose of the life is different, what I want to do is different. But when it comes to comparison, we are just blindfolded. We are actually not assessing. We are just feeling bad. And we are feeling bad because just we are into some unrealistic standards of comparison. So here is the first point. Research shows that we tend to compare our weaknesses with other people's strength. But when you compare more comprehensively, things start to feel more attainable. This is a funny thing came into my mind. Uh, like many people do this vlogs on halls like Zara hall, Nykaa hall, Myntra hall, some other halls. Okay, and okay, they have their own financial resources to do such halls, and they are equally working hard enough and managing the things, and maybe they feel that they are good at it, and that is one of the purpose in their life, so they are doing it, they are feeling happy about it. But when we are watching such videos and then we are feeling, oh, this person is so lucky, he or she has this thing, that makeup and this thing, I'm just not pointing to women, okay, or on something else basically, then yeah, with the clothes, with the halls and all, and then we feel that men or women both feels that I don't have this thing, or watching the video they think, okay, I better get this thing, then I will feel good about myself. But no, you can do different types of hauls, no, depending on the values you have, depending on the purpose you have found out in your life. And if you don't know that, then depending on the values and the skills and the things that you are good at, maybe you are good at watering plants or gardening or some type of plantation, you can do that plant haul. Maybe you are good at really helping others, like in planting the seed of kindness, love and compassion, then using different types of activities which you must be doing anyway. How about you doing that haul? Maybe you can do a haul on meditation and prayers. Maybe you can do haul on importance of thinking good words and speaking good words and feelings. So it's just not everything about the money and the resources that other people use or that you compare yourself with. It will not take you anywhere, right? So depending on your own skills and abilities, you can do your own haul. Well, haul is just the word I'm using, but the point is that you correct your standard of evaluation and don't compare your not enoughness with something enoughness, because that feeds a cycle of not good enough. But if you just go back, reverse, there is nothing like not good enough, there is nothing like that. It's very abstract. Be specific, as in what I am not good enough at, like what. You pick up one thing and then you see, like really that's the, like really if it's that a correct evaluation even. So when you compare more comprehensively, then things start becoming more manageable, more attainable. Okay, here is the second thing. Something which she talks about is banning envy and malicious envy. That's very interesting. So psychologists distinguish between banning envy, when we admire someone and try to emulate them. So let's say the authors and the people like your role models, like your mentors. And malicious envy is when we dislike and begrudge the other person for having what we want. That's when your envy becomes a problem and it's malicious, because something someone has and you don't have and you want it, and then you are into harmful and destructive ways to get at it. Okay. We often feel malicious envy when we perceive scarcity. So again, not good enough part. We can understand it that way. Another theory is, which can be helpful, is pick up a broader baseline. So widen your perspective when you are comparing. Okay, so for example, you and your classmate or your friend, you both went through the same college and then work and job and everything. But let's say one person had it all very easy and just made the way successful in the easiest way, let's say, and the life, let's say, was very supportive enough. But you on the other hand, let's say, are equally more talented and skillful, but your journey is going little slower than this other person, and you have other obstacles and things to cover up. Then in that sense you may not feel good enough, like your comparison standards are false here. But if you compare more comprehensively, then you might see that you have a lot of things to deal with. For example, let's say the responsibilities you have that your friend might not have. Like for example, let's say you have to provide for your family, you have to take care of many other things, and there are other responsibilities on your shoulders. But let's say this other person had nothing to do with all of these things that you are dealing with, and it's just went ahead. So if you compare more comprehensively, then you understand that, sweetheart, you are not lacking behind. No one is lacking behind in that sense. It's just that the role, the responsibilities are also needs to be considered basically, and that way you will feel good about yourself, and that might be a realistic standard also of comparison. So what we have to do is, like, from why don't I have that to do I have enough. Chances are you can survive without whatever it is you pine for, and not having it has no impact on your worth as a person. That's the point. Do not question your worth. If you are questioning your worth, that means you have completely falsified standard of comparison. But if you pick up a broader baseline, if you see the entire story, if you have the entire landscape view of the experience, then you see that you are equally enough, and you are just not reassessing your weakness with someone's strength. And the next thing that could help is stock of your accomplishments. Keep stock of your accomplishments instead of comparing yourself with others. Here is the beautiful short paragraph she has written. Compare present you against past you. You may not always be exactly where you want to be. This is very true for me, because this is my personal experience. You may not always be exactly where you want to be, but chances are you are not where you used to be either. Isn't that powerful? Listen again. You may not always be exactly where you want to be, but chances are you are not where you used to be either. Pausing to take stock of your accomplishments and the skills you have developed as a result, because of course there is nothing called failure, okay, that and as you are moving ahead, you are gaining a lot of experiences. You are in this period of trial and error, so you are gaining a lot of experiences and lessons and more skills. So pausing to take stock of your accomplishments and the skills you have developed as a result can help you feel proud of your progress and untangle yourself from malicious envy. Keep in mind that an important part of the progress you have made is what you learned. Very, very important. So keep stock of your accomplishments, not just how much I have accomplished, then so and so and so. Remember, comparison targets are never ending. It just keeps on shifting or changing. They are not ending. So you have to compare yourself against yourself, as in your accomplishments. You keep stock of that and see how you can move ahead. So do not disrespect yourself, do not insult yourself, your uniqueness, your individuality by comparing your weaknesses with someone's strength. Rather, you can learn from what they are really good at and practice it in your own life. But more than that, find out from their successes, from their failures, from your own successes, from your own failures, how you want to go ahead and how much you have already accomplished, and then see how you can more bloom and flourish in whatever you are doing. And remember, next time when you compare yourself with someone else, it should be only in the measurement of respecting yourself and respecting another person. It should not be I greater than others or I less than others. Both are wrong. It could be I equal to others, because your strengths and other person's strengths, your weaknesses and other person's weaknesses, everyone has got their own curriculum. Okay, everyone has got their own lessons and their own things to deal with. Either they have already accomplished or they are in the process of it, but it is always I equal to others, and that's the right way of measurement to see yourself with others. And that way you will also feel at a deeper level a sense of oneness, and that oneness, the feeling of oneness, the feeling of belongingness is very, very important, because you can never be better than others, but you can always be equally in one with yours and others' betterness. Okay, so let's just keep it that way. Thank you so much.